Hello, this is Shamim. I am working as a senior web developer in Eicra Limited. So in continuation of our previous tutorial, which is part 1, I am going to cover part 2 under our role section. In this tutorial, I am going to show you how can we add, edit and manage user role and permission for a specific role. So this is one of the most important article for role section. Before viewing this article, make sure that you have listened carefully our previous article, which is part 1. So let us assume that you have already seen our part 1 and we are now moving ahead to part 2 tutorial, which is going to be managing role, allow and disallow permission for a specific role. Now let us log into our demo website. This is a default demo real estate script. For your case, it can be any script purchased from Eicra. The idea and functionality will remain same. So we just pick this script to show you, to demonstrate how can we manage and play with the roles. So once I click on agent registration, here is the general role which is recently created. In our previous tutorial we showed how can we create new role. So let us select on general role and let us assume that we are going to register under our general role. So let's choose a free package or gold package, whatever you want. So let us choose free package because free package activate instantly. And now we will be filling up this form with some dummy data, and what my intention is to show you that we have recently created a new role called general, and I'm going to register a new account called Samim Mridha with an email address called dev@yoursite.com with a sample password, assuming that I am registering a new user under a general role which has just been created. So this is my login credential. Login username is going to be dev@yoursite.com, and I'm going to fill up some mandatory fields. Let us choose country as Bangladesh, and these fields are mandatory with red asterisks. Your state, country, zip code. I'm filling up this form assuming that I'm going to register myself under a general role. Remember the general role we have created recently in our previous article. So I missed the zip code field, so it takes the control to the zip code, and again CAPTCHA get changed, so I'm going to write CAPTCHA again, and I'm now registering as a user under a general role, and this will create a new user under the new role we have created. So this is a CAPTCHA. For security reason you can add this CAPTCHA or you can leave this CAPTCHA, although it is not recommended because it may increase the number of spam. So CAPTCHA is sometimes boring because if something not match, the system will force you to give the exact CAPTCHA. So it's a 5-digit CAPTCHA. So I am now giving the correct one and hit the submit button, and I am expecting a new user to be created under the role of admin, under the role of general. So it is successfully created. So I have registered myself as a username called dev@yoursite.com. Now I'm going to my admin login area, and I would like to see if a new user get registered under general role. So let us log into admin panel, user and manage user. So under the manage user I open in a different tab so that I can go back side by side. So look at this, user ID number 15 has been created newly under the name MSM Shamim Mridha to our user role called general. This is the role column, and the new user has been registered under a user role called general, and last login, you can see last login is null. It means user has not been logged in yet. And the second column is the user when he is registered himself. So the date is here. So the user dev@yoursite.com has registered just now. So and then last login is null because he has not been logged in. So now we will go back to our role setting area. Under setup, you can see there is a submenu called role setup. I open in a different tab, and this is the role management area. In our part 1 tutorial, we showed how can we create a new role called general. So this is the role we have created recently, and I'm going to set up the permission for the general user. So in our last tutorial, we showed how can we edit this role, and in this tutorial part 2, I'm going to show you how can we set up the permission for the role we have created called general. So look at this. This is a nice modularized based permission system. So under the newsletter, if you want user to permit something to view, edit, delete, you can do that. So all the role and modules comes in different box. So in newsletter, you can manage newsletter template, or if you go to sitemap, if you click to view the sitemap and hit the save button, it means all the user to be registered under the general user will get this permission for them. And contact module, under contact module, you can see this. If we select this and save, means user can update the contact setting, although it is not recommended. A contact form, if we here select and say save it, it means user can see the contact form and update the contact form. And sitemap means user, I want my user who registered under general role can view the sitemap. And these all are a drop down option where you can freely set up your access privilege according to your business plan. So look at this dynamic form. If we want the user, all user under general role should be able to view the list of the forms, you can select it and hit the save. And this is how you can decide yourself what to give permission and what not to give permission. So what you want to do user, what you want your user to do, and what you do not want your user to do. So you can freely add or filter or impose some censorship on this role and let user registered under a specific role. So if I select all and hit save, it means the payment gateway, under the payment gateway section, manage payment gateway. So all user registered under the general role should be able to manage the payment gateway for them. So it means I'm going to permit them. Select all means I'm going to permit all user to manage the payment gateway through their front end and a member area. Similarly, in the article section, you can see there are 3 boxes. Each has distinct purpose to administer their access privilege. If we select view front end article and edit front end article, and if we select and view list of the articles and select and hit the save, it means the corresponding user under the general role will get this privilege for. Similarly, each module has a set of access restriction, has set of access privilege, and it is up to your choice to whom or to which feature you want a user to permit and which user you do not want user to permit. So the system is very modularized. It means all the user who registered under the general role, he is going to get this permission for. So under the general role, there can be hundreds of user, there can be thousands of user, and whatever the number of user might be, he and she will be getting this access privilege what we are setting here. So in similar cases, you can see in the administration, password, vote, comment, project, settings, there are many modules and many controllers where you can set your permission for. So it is up to your freedom this, it is up to your business plan how you can set up your access restriction for a specific role and how you want to control your user based on the setting you can see here. So it looks relatively big and a little vast, and you may need a time, and you can slowly make sure that you develop your access privilege for the role called general, or whatever the role you have created. It can be teacher, can be student, can be management, can be your employees, can be your agent. So whatever the role might be, you just set up access privilege according to your business plan and according to your desire, and save it. And once you save it, it means all user registered under this role, for this case it is under general role, will be applied to the for the users registered under it. So now the dev at yoursite.com is a user who registered under general role. So the whatever the setting we have added, dev at yoursite.com will enjoy this privilege. You can discard or leave some privilege, or you can add one more privilege based on your um, organization flowchart or organogram. So currently you can see under this role there is one user registered, which is dev at yoursite.com, this one. So under our general role only one user is registered, so the permission we have set is to be applied for that particular user who registered himself under general role. So now I'm going to log out because I logged in as an admin. So now I log out and I'm going to log in as a user who has just been registered himself. So like the user we have registered called dev at yoursite.com, what we have just registered in the beginning of this tutorial. So okay, look, I cannot log in. Why? Because you can see admin has not allowed my access. You can see dev at yoursite.com, this is the new user who has just registered himself. So now I am going to try again. Look, you see, you are not allowed to log in from the front end area. Why? Because it is up to admin to approve this account before he logs in, because according to the general role setting, admin needs to explicitly allow a user before login, because once a user signed up, he or she is not permitted to log in from front end. Look at the error message. It clearly says that you are not allowed to log in from front end area. It means when we created this role, we select an option. When we created the general role, we select an option called allow user to log in front end. We said not allowed. We set not allowed. If we set allowed, it means user can log in immediately after registration. So now you can see I logged in as an user, so it will not allow me. So I just log out and I log in as an administrator, and I will change the role setting and I need to approve it. So look at this, and now user can register himself and user can log in directly, because we lift the restriction that after registration user can log in directly to their account. So when we leave the registration, it can log in successfully. So now you can see this is the settings that we have add those privileges. So in payment gateway, you can see user can get the payment gateway setting, because in our role we approve that user can manage their payment gateway. So once I log in as a registered user, I can have the list of the payment gateways to manage, and user can define their own payment parameters for them. So now you can see under the user called dev at yoursite.com, he has a privilege to manage the payment gateway. How can he get this privilege? How could he get this privilege? Because in recently we showed that we approve the user to manage this privilege under the role of general. So now we log in, sorry, now we logged out, and I am going to log in as an administrator, and I am going to lift this privilege because now I don't want user to set up their own payment gateways. Now under setup, I go to user role manager, and under the general manager I am going to set up a new permission, and I am going to lift this privilege for them because now I do not want user to manage their payment gateways. So where it was in earlier it was approved, now it is going to be unselected, it is going to be disapproved. So now we do not want user who registered under general role, we do not want user to manage their payment gateways. So now we lift all the permission, and we will see what happens if user registered, if user login. So now I lift all permission, and I'm going to go to our user login area again. So I log out, and I am going to log in as a user mode, which is dev@yoursite.com, and I will see now how can the users who registered under general role should not be able to manage their payment gateways. So now I am going to log in as a user, what we have just recently registered, dev@yoursite.com, and my password. Remember, earlier we allowed user to manage their payment gateways, and we could manage their gateways, and now I log in and I see I lift those permission, and you can see under the module, the content manager module, and under the module you can see we cannot find the payment gateways here. So it means the permission has been snatched away. So no more permission for the user to manage their gateways. So you can see under the user called dev@yoursite.com, user cannot manage their payment gateway anymore. Why? Because we lifted those privilege from our admin area. Now log into our admin area and see under the setup, user role manager, general, so only one user is registered. You can see on our general there is one user is registered, and this is the form. Through this form the general user will be registered. So it can be one user, can be 100 user, can be registered 1000 user under this role. So currently under our user and manage user, we can see only one user registered under this role. So once I delete this user, if I delete this user, then only I can remove the role. So before deleting this user, we cannot delete a role. So now I'm going to delete this user which is registered under this general role. Now I'm refreshing this page. You can see no delete button is here. So now you can see a new delete option is here. Because why? Because there is no user registered under this role. You cannot delete a role unless there is you cannot delete a role if there is any user registered under it. So when there is no user, then only you can delete a role. So now I can delete a role, and you can see in affiliate there is one user, so no delete option, but in reseller there is no user, so you can delete this role. So this is the role. You are free and freedom, you have full freedom to add new role, manage existing role, and set up new user, and you are free to control the access restriction of a user. So in our next tutorial we will discuss how can we manage the premier control panel of a member of or of a registered user. In this tutorial I will in our next tutorial I will discuss on this premier control panel of a registered user. So I hope you enjoyed this article and it helps you understanding how can we manage the access restriction and how can we manage the users are registered under certain roles. And if you have anything not clear yet or if you have any question, do not hesitate to email us. We are happy to answer any of your call if it is not clear. Thank you very much.